Nobody's really going to understand your pain. They're not going to understand all of the trials and tribulations that you have faced and all of your personal demons that you have to fight in the shadows alone. A lot of people, they see guys like us in this position, and they already they already have a prejudgment in their minds. They don't care what led us to this position. They don't care what we had to face, the battles that we had to win, the battles that we lost, the wars that we fought, the wars that we lost. They don't understand the spiritual skirmishes that attacked us and ambushed us from the shadows around us. They don't even consider that life could have been different, you know, because their perception of reality is something that's a lot better than yours. So they look at you and they think that they can't believe it. They can't believe how you're somebody in our situation and you're still maintaining. You still haven't snapped. You're strong, and they look at you like, wow. And quiet, quiet as it's kept, your family and people that were around you, they see the things that you're going through. And secretly, a lot of them, they're glad it's happening to you. They get some type of sick, twisted pleasure of seeing you down and out, of seeing you in a position of poverty, of seeing you in a position of psychological degradation, of seeing you not prospering. A lot of people, especially people in your own family, they'll take gleeful pleasure of seeing you down and out, you know? And if you ever fall within their power, then they'll try to torment you, do it on purpose, and then try to deny it. So you got to watch out for people like that. There's snakes and vipers that are hidden in the bushes and hidden amongst the trees, and you don't want to get bitten. Somebody in our position, we already understand that this life it's very unique. It's isolating, it's debilitating, and it's frustrating, and it has a lot of annoyances, but one thing that is good sometimes is just being by yourself if you can. Because being by yourself and being in a quiet place it's a rarity, for certain people. For certain people, not so much, but for certain people, they don't really have a place where they can just be in quiet and silence. There's always going to be some type of noise or background. So that's what that is. But when you think carefully about it, guys like us that survived all of this and we kept going and we stayed strong, we've gained a new type of intellect. We've gained a new type of intelligence, and we have a new understanding and perception about the world around us. A lot of things have been confirmed, and a lot of things have grown on us. When you're somebody that sees the reality of human nature, you see how cruel people can be. You see how cruel people are. You see how merciless and sadistic certain people are. You see how far certain people are willing to go for nothing at all. So, in this world, as a lonely guy, you have to keep your guard up and you have to be extremely careful about just talking to people and associating yourself with certain people, because certain people get involved with certain things. And as you get older, you start to value your peace more. You start to value your isolation more. You start to just value your time and your quiet, your video games, your little hit from, a vaporizer or a joint or something like that, or drinking whatever. Like you start to value those moments. And as you get older, people start passing away. So you get more alone. And even friends pass away that you thought would never pass away this soon, and just so randomly. You're just talking to a person one week and the next week they're gone forever and you'll never ever talk to them again. And it's like they just checked out. It's like they pretty much just left you. And you're like, damn, why did you leave me? Like why, you know, when you know that you had somebody to talk to that could have understood your pain, Something that I learned a long time ago is never, ever, ever, ever take advice from somebody that, hasn't been through what you've been through, because they don't know about the struggles. They don't know about the little tiny bits and pieces that go together that create the perfect picture and the perfect puzzle of destruction and the perfect puzzle of terror that you had to endure. When somebody was born, rich, wealthy, with a nice family, with things that you can only imagine. They had love, they had hugs, they had women. They got their first car at 16 and it's a Mercedes Benz or a BMW or, you know, Lexus or something like that. And that's their first car for a 16-year-old, you know. And, they had graduation parties and they went to prom and this, that, and the third. And they had multiple, partners or whatever. And then you have people who had the total opposite of that. You had people that suffered because they were just odd. Some of it, can be blamed on, the parents or whatever, because, certain people shouldn't be having kids or, and that's true. But also, you got to think about the society. Look at this world that we're in. Look how it's tuned. It's fine tuned for the destruction of your belief in yourself. Everything has to come from the external. Here, buy this, buy this, buy that, buy the new iPhone, buy the new this, subscribe to Netflix, subscribe to this, buy that. Everything's vying for your attention where you can't really just focus on yourself and start to just get that quiet and that silence so you can really start to think deeply and really understand deep spiritual conceptualizations that will just come through you through meditation. You got to be careful because sometimes demons and evil spirits will like to sneak in messages and try to deceive you, but your divine spark should show you the real light of the voice. And it's just you come to certain realizations. You start to wonder, okay, if this world was really good and governed by a good, loving being, it wouldn't be this much chaos and destruction. And the people that believe in it, they're just so, like, they don't see how wrong it is for an almighty being to be evil and be having the will to threaten you and try to threaten you with eternal fire or threaten you with some hell realm. That's not good. That you telling me the ultimate God and all creation, his ultimate solution is to burn you in hell forever? Does that even make sense? You tell me he can't just make a realm for you and talk to you, or make a realm for you so you can understand. He can't show you any other way. He has to go through the pain and the torment, and that's supposed to be our Father, who rules with us with fear. If we get out of line, he'll send you to eternal hell and send you to the outer darkness and oblivion and Tartarus, where there's scary giant monsters and demons of the unknown. You know, this God is going to send us to those dimensions to be tormented and tortured. And that's a loving being that you're supposed to get on your knees and worship forever. That's the ultimate power of creation of the holy divine light. Is somebody who's trying to throw you inside giant pillars of fire in some lake of hell. And you're telling me that's normal? You're telling me that's a good thing? Come on. Why don't people use their brains? That should be a huge red flag that something is really off. Something is really wrong with this existence. I know that they say life is not supposed to be easy. Like, life is supposed to be hard. But who's the one making it hard? Who's the one by design that made it that we have to look for food and eat? That we have to use the bathroom? That there's monsters out there that can eat us? Like there's lions out there, jaguars, tigers, grizzly bears. There's things in the ocean that can hurt you. There's like jellyfish. If you just slightly touch the tiny little tentacles on the jellyfish, you get paralyzed, or you feel some venom or some pain that it feels like it's just unbearable, and that could potentially neutralize you. There's so many things that are designed to attack the flesh. Why would a good loving God create bees to sting you, scorpions to sting you, spiders to bite you, snakes that can envenomate you? You think wouldn't it look like, the honey badger? I believe it's the honey badger. I think I've seen a cobra bite a honey badger, and a honey badger just like pretty much ripped the snake's head off, but it kind of went to sleep and it like just slept off the venom. And then the honey badger went back to eating the cobra because there's something in their blood that stops the cobra venom from working. So why didn't the divine God put that in our blood, that if a venomous snake bites us, that we don't just pass away? Why didn't a God design it like that? In the Bible, this God used venomous snakes to attack his people of Israel in the desert because they didn't listen to him. So it says, and the Lord sent venomous snakes amongst their camp, and like thousands of people passed away. That's your God in the Bible, you know? And you're telling me that's supposed to be the ultimate divinity? A God of that much just evil, that much insanity, right? And this is normal? We're supposed to be obedient to a God like that, who by the very design, our souls are trapped. Our souls are limited. Like, we want to be millionaires. We want to be successful. We want girls. We want a lot of good things in life, and we can't have that. And yet this God is fine with it. But he can do anything besides give us what we want and what we desire. And people worship this being because they're scared to go to hell. So you're not worshiping him because you love him. You're worshiping him because you're scared to go to hell. Every Christian you talk to, like, when you make them mad, then they start to say, well, you're going to go to hell. And it's like, you're already in hell. We're just in a different sector, but you're too blind and stupid to see that. I really wish people would think. Do you know why certain people use sorcery and magic in real life, and they say they sell their souls and stuff like that? Because this world should show you that morality means nothing. You should look at the utilization and integration of spirits and demons or whatever you're trying to use to help you if you're into that type of stuff. You shouldn't look at it on the basis of morality. Because if you look at the Bible, the God of the Bible is not really moral. He's a bloodthirsty maniac and monster, a behemoth of violence, a terror of destruction and doom. And yet this God tries to write statutes, ordinances, and commandments saying this, that, and the third, but then he rules with fear and terror. You're no different than a terrorist. You're no different than somebody that rules to cause pain and affliction through fear and intimidation and pain. That's not a good loving being, and that's not the ultimate form. That's not the real Father. That's an imposter. That's the demiurge. Look at us, man. Look at the lives we live. Look at the dreams and inspirations we once had. The fires that once burned in our heart. Those fires are long gone. All of our dreams are just faint memories in a past that's been decorated with terror. There's something odd about how this existence is just created and we're just supposed to accept it. How can I accept a place that I didn't ask, I didn't have any permission to be born or not? I was just spawn trapped. How is that fair? How can I be judged by some being that should be judged itself? The only being that should be going to hell is this evil, wicked, sadistic, twisted God who made this hell to imprison and trap us. Look at our lives. You tell me this is what it means to be an adult, always worrying and focusing about money and 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 money. Then you get the money, then you ain't got no money, then you get the money, you gotta spend the money, you gotta get the money, you gotta spend the money, and that's just life forever. And that's the ultimate formula for Almighty God. Well, it's the devil, it's Satan. Who created Satan? Who's allowing Satan to do this? Who's the father of the devil? You talk about the devil, yet you worship the father of the devil, which is the God of the Bible. Is he not the father of the devil? Did not the devil spawn from him, come from him? Did he not create the devil? And then they give you a story about how the devil was so proud and all this, that, and the third. And, but the more prouder one is the God of this Bible. Look what this insane demiurge did to us. None of us like our lives. You telling me right now you love your life? You telling me right now you can look in the mirror and say, I love my life. I can't. I'll live like this forever. I love this. Waking up every day, going to a place that it's like it's like going to the gulags in the Soviet Union. You just go to the gulag, and you got to do that every single day just for a piece of change. That's not even enough to change your life, but it's enough to take away all the time from your life. Ain't that something? How jobs are designed that way? Jobs are designed to take away all the time of your life, but not designed to actually give you a life where you can be free from that job and be able to have enough money to do whatever you want. So they give you enough just to survive a little something, something, but they don't give you too much so you won't come back. They give you enough where you can do a little something, not too much, just a little something, something, but it's enough to incentivize you to come back because it's a guaranteed stable paycheck. You know, they got everybody trained in a certain way. They don't teach us to believe in our own selves, to believe in ourselves and try to make a business or something. And that doesn't guarantee success. Most businesses fail. We all know that. But hell, why not try anyway? Even if the demiurge is against us, hell, maybe Sophia will help us somehow. You know what I mean? With a quick light aurora beam. I don't know, but I want to try and still try to defy the demiurge by trying because he probably doesn't want me to try at all. A sick, twisted world we live in, indeed, and you're always surrounded by something that annoys you. Either you got to scratch, you got to use the bathroom, you're hungry, you're sick, you don't have enough money, you don't have enough time, you don't feel talented enough, you don't feel handsome enough, you don't feel rich enough, and you don't feel like you even deserve to have a girl in your life, or you don't even feel like you deserve to have anything that you really want in your life because you feel so out of it. You don't even feel like your original self. You don't even know how it feels like to even be happy anymore because you've been depressed for such a long time. When you've been depressed for such a long time, it's really difficult for you to even think of anything other than depression and stressing and struggling. And you have this bubbling inside you for years. I think I said it before, but let me emphasize because my mind goes 1,000 places at once, so my mind darts all over the place. So, but yeah, what I was saying earlier about morality. Look at Instead of looking at it as morality, look at it as energy. Look at it as the utilization of energy, meaning that in the real world, somebody like a president of the United States, you see what it takes to become that. Whereas somebody that's like, I'm gonna build I'm gonna build this, I don't know, this school for the children or whatever, and it's gonna cost the state a lot of money and blah 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 blah. And that person tries to do that and tries to be fair and honest, and then the state cuts the funding, because they didn't want to do it. That person tries to be fair and honest, and then the state blackmails him or something with it, but the state does some corrupt crap. So in real, so this dimension, it teaches you that morality is useless because people that are moral, how many people that are religious that are moral? They're moral their whole life and they don't get nothing. Then somebody who lies, they cheat, they backstab, they do evil shit, and they get to the top of the world. And this God rewards it. He doesn't punish them. Oh, they'll get punished in the next life. Of course, you always say the next life. They need to get punished right now, not in no next life that you don't even know exists or not. You don't even know if there's another life. This could be it. There could be no pleroma, no none of that. It could just be you pass away and it's nothing, or it could just be you pass away and go to hell forever. Right? That's a real possibility. We don't really know for sure what happens, and if we did, we got mind wiped in the reincarnation, or I like to call it the recalibration of reincarceration. There we go. The recalibration of reincarceration, which is the soul trap. Soul trapping you again and again, not into another reincarnation, but to a reincarceration into a soul trap prison, that's just designed to destroy you. It's a terrible thing to fathom, knowing that there's nothing out there that's trying to save us, and even if so, it's not saving us in a timely fashion that we want. Simply because of how this world is orchestrated. And, I don't know, man. We walk a lonely world, but you got to really think about this. What's the real reasoning for us being in this existence where humans have the cognitive capacity, the cognitive ability to actually judge things and determine what's right and wrong, yet humans will consciously choose wrong? Is it really just human nature to do that, or are they being governed by the archons from the shadows? Are there dark spiritual forces that we can't see with the eyes that are dictating a lot of people's actions? But some people are born evil. I do believe some people are just born evil without any type of demons or spirits or none of that. They're just born evil and born wicked. Some people are just wicked pieces of crap. They just choose to do evil because they can. You know, they do evil because it makes them laugh, and they think that's satisfying. That's just an empty void, that's never going to be filled. Those people are usually empty, sorry excuses for people anyway. They just do things just because it's funny, But I'm talking about doing terrible, not good things. I'm talking about terrible things, like try to harm people, try to attack people. They do it because they think it's funny, you know? Like people like that, they're just disgusting, repulsive, you know? But there's so many things that this world doesn't really tell you up front, and you have to find out, just going through the hell, going through the ringer, and one of them is like you can't trust anybody like that. You can trust certain people that that you can trust, but as you get older, your circle gets smaller, and you know that people try to get information from you so they can use it against you later. People not just talking and asking questions. Hey man, where you stay at? Hey man, what are you doing? Hey man, this they're trying to get information because they're your enemy, and they're trying to act like they're friendly so they can get information to use against you. Those are the most evil, devious bastards you can encounter. They like you ain't never seen that person before. Then they pop up randomly and then try to get some information about you. They make it so obvious, They try to get some information about you, so they can use against you. When it's like you're just a random guy on the internet, you know. Yeah, just watch my videos, engage with it, learn what you can learn, you know, support how you can support whatever, like, comment, do all that stuff, um, yeah, and that should be it. You know what I mean? Like learning, like anything more, is just okay. This world, it tries to trick you and deceive you all the time. It tries to always justify things that are evil. A lion ripping up a zebra, they'll tell you, well, that's just how nature is. Well, who created nature? And why is it so brutal? Why is it so merciless? Why is it so chaotic? Why do we have to devour things for sustenance? Why is the essence of survival in this world the destruction of something else that's living in order for something else to survive? And that's embedded in everything, even microscopic organisms. Why is that the fundamental and essential frequency of this world? It's just evil. Why? That doesn't make any sense coming from a loving, caring being, but it makes perfect sense if we're in a hell realm that's designed to break us and destroy our souls. Something's not right, y'all. And the inflation is getting bad. Fast food now is a luxury. You know, it's ridiculous. Like the fast food has become a luxury now. It's so expensive. It's ridiculous. And groceries, period. Food, period. And I keep getting sick. I don't know what this hell. I gotta stop eating all this processed crap because it's like they're putting something in this food, man. They're putting microplastics. They're putting chemical compositions of what I don't even know, but they're putting something in this food that it's just not agreeing with my stomach. It's not agreeing with my body. I find myself just throwing up, all this nasty crap, this food. I don't know what they're doing to it. But every time I see something that says bioengineered ingredients, it always makes me throw up for some reason, for the most part, you know? And it's like, what the hell? What? Okay. And they never tell you specifically what is the bioengineered ingredient and why do I need bioengineered ingredients in my food? I don't need bioengineered anything in my food. Give me natural food. I don't trust it. Why is it making me sick? Why? Why is there bioengineering, made with bioengineering, what's it called? Made with bio engineering, whatever the hell, on the back of cereal boxes. I see that? Okay, next time you get a box of cereal or get any type of like mainstream cereal, Look at the back, and it will say made with bioengineered ingredients. I kid you not. Most of the cereal I see that's like mainstream cereal, like Lucky Charms, stuff like that. You know, Fruity Pebbles, Cocoa Pebbles, Captain Crunch, stuff like that. You're gonna see that it's made with bioengineered ingredients. It like contains bioengineered ingredient or whatever. It's like what? I don't want to eat no bioengineered ingredient. Hold on, this feels like something that you should have to sign a consent form for. Because what's that? What is that bioengineered ingredient going to do over time, right? In Tudor England, they used a thing called pewter, and pewter was a type of, I think it was a type of silver or a type of metal that they used to use, and it was filled with lead. But they used to eat out of that. They used to eat out of it, drink out of it, you know. And they said that kind of helped, like with it kind of helped make people kind of like just go a little crazy. You know what I mean? They kind of said that maybe King Henry VIII's mood swings had a combination of that going on as well, because he was literally eating a bunch of lead, and getting lead poisoning. Meanwhile, dealing with a leg with ulcers. Meanwhile, just dealing with not being able to have a male heir, and just dealing with all that, and then being overweight, where he's so big they have to use giant pulleys to pull him up from different floors. Imagine being that fat as a king. It's ridiculous. But yeah, right? It's I really want to live in an anime. Honestly, I want to live in an anime city, in an anime world, in an anime realm where you can't get sick, you can't throw up, you can't, be in pain like that. You can't always going through money problems and issues. And even if so, I'll have like the anime power to forge my own legend and forge my own legend and forge my own way. You know, um, what a brutal world, honestly. It's sickening when you really think about it. We have a very limited amount of life, and it's mostly wasted on nothing that we love. You know, and that's it. It has to be something more than just the 100 years or 80 years, 90 years, 70 years, 60 years we get here. You telling me that's it? That's life? There's nothing. Just feels odd. Just feels strange. Very interesting world indeed.